I have a question about Ukraine. There's been some comments by the German Chancellor who said there was no prospect of Ukraine's immediate accession to the EU, but suggested Kyiv could join meetings of the bloc's members. Everyone agrees that, or at least perhaps privately and most publicly agree, that it's impossible for Ukraine to join the EU immediately. So I kind of wanted to understand what the path forward then would be. You know, what are the alternatives? Could you speak to what that would look like? And how long would it then take for Ukraine to reach full membership? Thank you.
May I?
Yes.
Okay. Not in German. Look, in the June 2022, we approved by unanimity to give the status of candidate country to Ukraine. And since then, Ukraine is working very hard with the European Commission in order to implement all the reforms they need to implement to ensure the accession to the European Union. All the member states know how difficult is the accession process. I don't know how many years Cyprus spent on this. I know my country spent 9 years negotiating this, the accession. And after this, with a lot of transitional clauses for a long time. Then it's always very difficult. And of course, what is very, very, very impressive in all the assessments from the European Commission is to see how, in this such difficult situation, a country in war, suffering a war of aggression, is delivering on their capacity to make reforms. It's not the end of the process. It's a long process, a very hard one, but we cannot try to fix artificial moments to say is in the 3 months or is in 10 years. We need to work very hard and to continue to work very hard to deliver on this, and as soon as possible. And this is the same to Moldova, and this is the same to the 6 Western Balkans countries who are negotiating with us the accession process. And we will continue on this, because for us it's very clear that first, strictly from the economic point of view, it's important to enlarge our single market. The last moment of great growth in Europe was when, in 2004, several member states entered in the Union and enlarged our single market. But now it's also about geopolitical. And when I'm saying that it's about geopolitical, I'm not saying that we can give up on the criterion and the merit-based process, because this is a merit-based process. But what this means is everybody, the candidate countries and the European Union institutions, need to act with the sense of urgency of this process. And, of course, we need to be creative to solve problems. And it is not easy, as you can imagine, to negotiate 9 accession process at the same time, and especially with a country with the dimension and in the current situation of Ukraine. But we believe in the future of Ukraine, and we believe that the future of Ukraine is in the European Union.
I can only echo that, because, it's very important. We have in 2020 renewed the methodology for the accession process. So this is also a set of clear rules among us and the potential candidate countries. And both sides rely on that, so it's a two-way contract if you are a candidate country. It's hard reforms that the candidate countries have to do. We expect them to only move forward if they deliver on these reforms. But the other way around is also true. If they deliver on the reforms, they have a certain right to move forward in the process. In the very end, it is a political decision by all member states, because by unanimity you have to then decide on accession. But the way forward, the merits-based process forward has to be respected for both sides to know what to rely on. I want to say explicitly that Ukraine in the last months specifically has worked very, very hard and delivered through the rather important reforms to unlock, for example, European funding, and this has to this has to be rewarded on our side too.
He wants full membership.
But of course he is.
But he wants it quickly.
But look, what we are doing is negotiate. All this accession process is towards the full accession of all these member states, these candidate members. That is an ongoing process. And we need to continue to work. Thank you.